Hi and welcome to this Blueberry Markets video update with me, John Kibler, Head Currency Analyst. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Euro US dollar as prices come down into one of our target zones. So last week we talked about Euro US dollar breaking down via this sort of 1.09 handle, and we talked about targeting this sort of 1.0750 zone, and that's where we expected a little bit of buying to come back in before potentially seeing a continuation. Now we've obviously got a lot of US dollar news coming up this week. We've got the FOMC meeting minutes, are the Fed discussing the pause in the next meeting, and we've also got the US debt ceiling negotiations, which didn't go too well on Friday. So it'd be interesting to see how that all plays out going into the debt ceiling negotiations. Have started to sort of restart, so we could start to see some volatility surrounding that. Now, if they don't come to any kind of conclusion, and if we were to see the US default for the first time in history, then the US dollar could technically devalue, and that would see euro dollar prices head higher, potentially through the 1.1100s, even up to the 1.1475, which I've got marked out as these previous highs back in February 2022. Don't think that would be the conclusion, just because they haven't done that in history. That would be the first time in history. So I don't think that would be the conclusion of these talks. They may take it to the wire, which could increase volatility. But that being said, I think the dollar strength is probably going to continue in the near term. Now, if the dollar strength does continue in the near term, what does that spell for euro dollar? Well, that would suggest to me that the price could continue to the downside. And we are trading at this 1.0750 handle at the moment. So I think if traders are looking to be on the US dollar, what you'd want to look for a safety reason, you'd want to wait for price to trade through this zone here. That then opens the door for a move down into the lows at the 1.0525 zone. Alternatively, we could be looking for a short-term pullback into these previous lows where we saw some selling pressure come in most recently. Now, the reason I say that is if we go to the 4-hour time frame, these are around these kind of 4-hour levels just through here. So you've got this area here where we saw some selling coming in, as well as these highs that we're kind of looking at right now. Now, when we spoke about euro dollar, we looked at one or two options. We looked at the short around the 1.09, and we looked for the short on the breakout of this trend line support running through, and again, price moved into that key zone through here. So the way I look at things is price continuing to make lower lows and lower highs? If it is, then that tells me that the market is still in that sort of bearish condition. It's still in that bearish mode. If it's not, and we start to produce higher highs and higher lows, that's when we maybe need to start sort of looking elsewhere, either looking on a higher time frame or looking towards a change of trend. Okay, now we can kind of see there is a potential for a change of trend. Now what I mean by that is that we've come into a level of support, and we could be producing a popular reversal pattern, which would be the inverse head and shoulders pattern, where you've got the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder in here. Now, if price trades for the neckline, I would say, well, we probably need to hold on here. We need to wait to see maybe if something forms on a higher time frame, that being the daily time frame. And I'd be looking in particular to see how the price would react in and around this sort of area here, where we saw these kind of minor spike highs, which are around this area here, because that's where, if price is going to retrace back to, it's an area where maybe sellers would be interested in shorting again. Okay, so that's the reason why I'd be interested in that area, which is this zone through here. If I just take the bottom of the range out there, it's this zone just through here. Okay, so that's something to carefully consider when you're looking at your lower time frames, because they do give you a hint of what could potentially happen next. If price was to trade through that head and shoulders, then we could trade up to this level of resistance. If we double top, then that could give us the idea then to trade down to the 1.0750. So definitely something to keep your eyes on going into this week on euro US dollar. We have lots of euro data as well. I just think that the market is going to be super focused on these debt ceiling talks, and depending on the outcome could depend on what happens to price next. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the YouTube channel to see some more Forex trading content. I'll speak to you in the next video.